This episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio is brought to you by Geek Girl Realty. Are you looking for that fortress of solitude or a cottage in the woods? Geek Girl Realty can help you out. Check them out at www.geekgirlrealty.com.
Dungeon Crawlers.
Alright everyone, welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio, where we have Wizards of the Coast main important person of the day, which is Drew Nolosco, talking about the next wave of the Transformer trading card game, which I'm super excited about because the combiners are coming. That means Devastator, Bruticus, Computron, and the Dinobots finally can combine now to Volcanicus, which is just amazing.
Just give me Devastator and I'm happy.
Yeah. Devastator is awesome.
Hey, it is awesome to be on the show again. I enjoy crawling through dungeons with you.
Yes, it was awesome having you back on. We're glad to have you back because this game is just fantastic. It's hit my childhood funny button. So has the Hasbro re-release of the Gen 1 figures at Walmart. I will admit, I've been snagging those left and right.
Drew, you should know, Dan looks forward to this call with you. And at the beginning of the month, every month, he's just like, oh, it's coming closer. It's coming. It's like he needs his fix.
I totally get it, and I am happy. I really enjoy talking with you again.
Well,
for you. So, Dungeon Crawler Radio, wonderful name. I have done some dungeon crawling myself, but some of the members of the D&D team who do some sort of the fundamental work and design work have these awesome jackets that are dungeon maintenance crew jackets.
Ooh.
And they have this big icon of some burly warrior where instead of a sword and shield, he's got a mop and a bucket. Sorry.
No, that's kind of cool.
It's awesome.
We need jackets now.
We do.
We need jackets.
That's all there is to it.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
here's the best.
It's just as simple as that. We need jackets.
We'll get them. We'll get them.
I think our logo is cool enough that we could have that on the back of the jacket.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's got to beat a burly guy with a mop and a bucket. But that is cool. Dungeon maintenance.
Jackets and sweatshirts. Need sweatshirts too.
Yes. So, we've had the initial release, Wave 1. We had the Metroplex set come out. Now you have the combiners. I really have to ask, how does this work? Because point value-wise, I know there's no way I'm getting every Dinobot out on the field. So how in the world do I get enough out to create Volcanicus?
That was, I will give you the answer, the real and true answer. But before I get to that answer, I got to say, that was a real challenge from a design point of view. Because, going to the Dinobots, perfect example for me. Like, the Dinobots, they can't be five-star characters. No Dinobot is a 5-star character, right?
No.
So, the answer is that we arrived at is it's different for different combiner teams.
Okay.
So, some combiner teams, like the Aerial Bots, which we just announced today, the Aerial Bots, they are each 5-point characters.
Ooh, wow.
So, right, they're small, they're swift. It's great. The Dinobots are different. So, the Dinobots, you pick Grimlock, and Grimlock says he has this really, really cool ability where he says in his bot mode, when he attacks, choose a Dinobot you own from outside the game and put it into your KO area in alt mode. And so what he does is you play him and you play 2 of the other new Dinobots who form Volcanicus. And then Grimlock, who costs, just as an example, he is a 9-star character. 9-star character is pretty beefy.
Yeah.
And you can go fetch other Dinobots so you can get 2 more into your KO area. And then when you're combining, as long as all of your characters are in bot mode, including the ones in your KO area, and you play the Enigma card for that team, they can combine. So the Dinobots that form Volcanicus have a unique way of getting all their characters into play and combining. And in a very similar vein, for Optimus Maximus, we took a similar tactic when creating Optimus Maximus, but that you choose Optimus Prime Gleaming Commander, who's the white paint Optimus who formed the sort of chest and head, and he allows you to play around with which characters start and play and which characters from the Sentinels, which is the actual official name for the characters who form Optimus Maximus. And some of them start in your KO area. And then this flexibility in our approach to how we design combiners really let us individualize the teams. So not only, even though they have a sort of core combining mechanic, everybody has to be in bot mode, doesn't matter where they are, KO, in play the Enigma card for that team, combine, we were able to make the teams feel and play different and have different emphasis on different aspects of gameplay.
Nice. Now, is there a separate card for when it's, like, we'll say, Devastator or Volcanicus, when they're actually then become the combiner that goes out and play, or do we just assume that they're that character?
Nope. So, I think what you're referring to are the Enigmas of Combination, and each team of combiners, with one exception that we haven't revealed yet, so I'm not going to say who it is, but one team, 5 of the 6 teams require an Enigma of Combination card specific to that team. So there's Predacon Enigma, there's Sentinel Enigma, and so on. And that card says, check and see if if your characters are all in bot mode who make, let's say, Predaking. Mm-hmm. If they are, make Predaking, and then you can combine.
Nice. I like the fact Predaking's in there, even though he's not super smart. Still one of my favorite combiners. Just really cool having the eagle wings and the lion chest. Just really cool.
That Titan-sized toy from last year was fantastic.
No, I agree. Now, why did you guys decide to go the combiners? Was it because they were recently shown in the recent Go 90 cartoon series with Rise of, I can't even remember the series title now. But
the toy line was Combiner Wars.
Yeah, Combiner Wars, that's what it was, yeah.
So, yes to that question.
Okay.
That was part of the reason, but there were several others. So the first set of any trading card game has to sort of establish what the core rules are and what the core mechanics are, and it kind of has to give a sense of the relative value of power level of cards. Like, okay, I have a 9-star character. What does that mean? Oh, I look at this 9-star character and that 9-star character, and I get a sense of what that means, right? It establishes the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And in set 1, we did a couple of cards that sort of poked at the corners of what that meant. Like, Nemesis Prime has a pretty weird game mechanic, putting cards underneath him. Cosmos is another example. His ability to KO a character of certain star value or less when you reshuffle your deck during combat, that's weird. And we did those intentionally to show that we were going to push out in weird directions.
Yeah.
Then we get to set 2. And our aim here was to show, rather than what the core is, to show what take a wide look at what the game design space inside the Transformers trading card game is. And you see some of that in the combiners mechanic themselves.
Okay. Now,
and you see...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to let you continue.
Oh, and you see some of that in some of the other game mechanics, like battle cards that cost you stars because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
New keywords and a green icon that does cool things when you flip it when you're attacking or defending. And we stuffed a lot of content into Rise of the Combiners from a game design point of view to basically be a comparison to the sort of more streamlined establishing shot that we made with Wave 1. This says, here's the wide aspect ratio look at game design for this trading card game.
Nice. So, besides getting the combiners, I'm assuming we're also going to get a few other new Transformers that are going to be thrown out there that aren't combiners, or am I wrong?
That's absolutely correct. So there's 46 new characters in the set, and about half of them are a member of a combiner team,
Okay.
and the other half are regular Transformers characters. So big character cards. King Starscream, or let me be that precise. Starscream, Decepticon King. As an example, he's one of the super rares in the set. From that very specific moment in time where he put the crown on and ever so briefly was the glorious king of the Decepticons. Didn't last long, but we captured that moment. So there's plenty of content for folks who aren't super jazzed by combiners. And then I do want to point out that we did a very conscious design thing. Each of the combiner team members can be played independent of its part of a combiner teamness.
Okay.
You can just take Torox from the Predacons and just play him by himself without having him be in a combiner team deck that's the full Predacons.
Mm-hmm.
He has an ability that says enemy characters can't be repaired, and maybe that's really important to you, just independent of him being a Predacon. So we designed a lot of that layering in. So yeah, Predacons are cool, but you might want individual characters for their own abilities.
No, I like that because, if you're a fan of the Constructicons and you like Long Haul or one of the other ones, and they have some really cool abilities, you can play them without having the rest of the team. You can just, making your enemies not be able to heal, that's big because, there are those cards that can heal them and remove those damage counters on them, and if that's not possible, that really affects how the person on the other side of the table is going to play.
Right, and that was super intentional for us. I gotta say just one bit. We have not mentioned anything about the Constructicons.
Oh, darn it! Really? I hope they're in there. But
you have to wait and see. I will say, man, the Constructicons certainly were the first combiner team ever made.
They were.
Line.
It would be a shame if you didn't put them in there. But
we haven't said anything about them yet.
So, for our listeners, stay tuned because there may be something that jumps out about the Constructicons, which would be awesome. Now, you were mentioning King Starscream, and I really hope if you ever put out a Galvatron card, there is a special ability that it is an insta-kill against King Starscream, because that would just be awesome.
That would be super fun.
But would that be OP?
That's part of the, in the movie, you see that. He just shows up, and then one blast, and he's like dust. So that would be a cool move. I mean, it would have to be both of them out at the same time.
I'm just going to spitball here. You know how we would more likely, we would likely, you're absolutely right. We would want something like that represented in at least one version of Galvatron.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Galvatron's big enough that it's possible we'd do more than one Galvatron over time. But I could see a version of Galvatron who had something like do something, accomplish something, like flip a certain number of pips or correct combination, and KO a Decepticon leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way we would probably implement that.
See, and I could see that working without being too overpowered.
And it would have to be like the Galvatron from the movie, because it seems like after the movie he just went insane and didn't really accomplish a lot, at least in the TV series. I mean, in the Marvel comic book series, he did a lot of crazy things. It was a little bit more competent, but yeah.
Are you proposing that they implement some kind of like rolling the dice to see who you actually attack, even if it's someone on your own team? Is that
would be cool. A crazy Galvatron that just... Because, no, I mean, in the cartoon series, there's several times he just off his own guys.
Competency when it comes to Decepticon leaders is a really, really relative term.
Yeah.
Who do you think actually, in all of Transformers, let's keep it to Gen 1 and Generations, in all of Transformers, who do you actually think is the most competent of the Decepticons who could be called a leader?
I want to say Megatron. I mean, Megatron held it the longest that I know of, and he was somewhat competent. I mean, if you look at the cartoon, he ran away a lot, but that was only the cartoon because they had to make it look that way. But I mean, Shockwave's a pretty competent leader, but he's got his own hidden agendas. So I'd have to go Megatron.
See, I have to say Starscream just because he's my favorite villain. Like, he is...
Because he's always
exactly.
weaving behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's the most insane, and that to me, yeah. I don't know, I guess he's not really that competent of a leader.
I mean, he is a scientist.
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one, though.
Maybe Soundwave?
Who would you say?
It's weird, because I also tend to Shockwave comes to top of mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Shockwave, he's definitely ruthless. He definitely has that level of competency, but you're right. He definitely does secret agenda type things, and you're never quite sure, like, is he just going to off Megatron as soon as he gets a chance?
Yeah.
I would go with Shockwave.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at it overall, he held Cybertron for millions of years.
Right?
Oh, that's
you know,
true.
why the Autobots and the Decepticons were unconscious. Yeah. And Shockwave is a really cool character. I've always enjoyed him, and I loved seeing him in the new Bumblebee movie. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That his presence was one of my favorite parts of that movie. Those Cybertronian battle scenes were fantastic.
Oh my gosh, just seeing the jets in the triangular form shape like they were in the cartoon, seeing everyone in their as close to Gen 1 appearance as they could be. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But the reason that it was our favorite part of that movie is that because it was just so, like...
It was like the
sparse.
cartoons.
Yeah. It was just so sparse, though. It was just this little tiny, like, hint
Uh-huh.
at it. Like, if you did an entire movie just focused around that, do you think that it would still do as well?
For me, yeah.
For me, absolutely.
I mean, I would like to see it, but then...
Yeah. No, I would have loved it. And I love the fact we saw the squared, red-cabbed Optimus at the end, the silver trailer. Oh, yeah.
I hope all the rumors that they're making a Bumblebee sequel actually taking Gen 1 into account. I hope that all those rumors are true. I really want to see more of that kind of reality.
You know, that would be lovely. I gotta say, just full disclosure, I have nothing to do with that.
Yes, I know. But,
speaking of Shockwave, though, I love the leader class Shockwave from Siege. I really like that his alt mode is a spaceship. That sort of battle cruiser mode just tickles me.
yeah, I saw that. It was definitely interesting because almost every iteration we've seen, he's been a gun. I know there was one where he was kind of a gun crab placement walker type thing, which was weird, but kind of seeing him as a ship with that big laser cannon was pretty cool. I will admit that.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, are any of the versions of the Transformers or the Decepticons, the Autobots or Decepticons from Siege, going to kind of make an appearance? Because I know we're focusing on Generations, but are we going to see their alt modes or anything like that?
So, not Rise of the Combiners is really focused on combiners and characters from that era of Generations.
Okay.
Siege, I know Siege is out now, and that is the current toy line. I'd love to do some Siege stuff, but that feels like a future thing.
No problem. Generations, there's still so much more you can do, though, with Generations. Just because of all the great figures that are out there. Oh, I mean, there's got to be hundreds upon hundreds of Transformers that you have not even done or covered yet.
It is. And that's why we chose Generations, is because of that breadth of character selection. And Hasbro has been, fantastic partners on the creative there, because there are some cases where we talk to them about, bringing characters into Generations, and that has been, or updating them, and that has been lovely.
Nice. So, are there any special abilities or add-on abilities that the Combiners get? or is it just going to be exactly how it's listed out on the Enigma?
No, so each of the combiner teams in their combined form does something pretty unique and awesome.
Okay.
Let me pull up all of them. I have all the combined combiners right here. I am looking at the combined combiners. So, like Predacon, for example, his uniqueness is that he has 5 weapon slots. So when you combine, normally, basic rules, a character has 1 weapon slot, 1 armor slot, 1 utility slot. Predaking lets you keep 5 weapons.
Wow.
Combines 1 from each of the Predacon characters who unite to form him. And that makes him, he has 7 attack naturally, but he can have 5 weapons on him, which means his attack can get really big, or he can do things like, you stack huge amounts of bold to flip tons of cards. So that's one example. Volcanicus, when the Dinobots combine, he has a special thing. He's very, very offense focused.
Uh-huh.
So, when you combine him on that turn, every orange pit that you flip, you get to do pointed damage to, in addition to its adding to your attack, to whichever character you're attacking. So he combines and then does this one all-in massive attack and just KOs any character he chooses to. So they each have their own flavor and feel, and we built that in intentionally. So yeah, each of the combiner teams does have a different special thing.
Nice. I like that. That way they have their own uniqueness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. When does this come out again? Because I really need this.
So this comes out on March 1st in the United States and most of the territories where we're selling the Transformers trading card game.
Nice. So everyone that's already playing the game can get excited because March is not that far away.
Just around the corner.
And those that have not played it, because maybe they're hesitant, and well, there's another wave out, so it definitely is showing that this card game is going to be around for a while.
Well, that's the next question. If we do have beginners listening right now, what's the best wave for them to start on? Is it the first wave, or is it more fun to jump in right now?
So I would say so let's say we're talking to a hardcore Transformers fan who doesn't have a lot of tabletop game experience. I would start with the starter set. The Autobots starter set is a great place if this is your first trading card game.
Okay.
If you have a bunch of TCG experience and you're looking to get into the Transformers TCG, the Metroplex deck is a pretty interesting place to start. Mm-hmm. Metroplex is pretty different from a lot of the other teams that you would make, so he's kind of unique and fun that way. So yeah, I would really, if you're advising someone who's getting in, I would say what's their level of familiarity with trading card games and start them with one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I played trading card games for years, and to jump into the starter set, really easy rules, you can pick up on it really quickly, and then you can go from there.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job in even making super simple rules to start out with, just to kind of get used to it, and then go to a more advanced rule set.
I appreciate that compliment. Thank you. I will pass that along to the designer who was Matt Tabak, who was our rules manager.
Nice.
And Matt is fantastic and helps sussing out what the progression of learning is. Mm-hmm. Player, and so I will pass that compliment along to him.
No, please do, because I mean, there's a lot of trading card games I've gone out there that's like, it's taken me a week or two, and I've had to watch some videos before I finally say, okay, I think I can play this now. But this, as soon as I opened it up with those easy rules set, I could play right then and there. And then I'm like, okay, I know how this works. Now, what are the advanced rules? And it was just adding on top of that, and it wasn't even hard to add those on. So that's what made it easy. I mean, literally, open the box, played right then and there.
I'm still a fan of the easy rules. Even though I've played my fair share of trading card games, there's something about the simpleness that's just, I kind of like.
Yeah.
That was a very, very conscious design choice. We had, when we were in the early ideation phase, before we had settled upon any one game system for the core rules. We had systems that were vastly more complex, and we had systems that were very, very different looking. And one of the things that when we were narrowing down our goals for what the rule system needed to accomplish, one of the things we realized is Transformers is such a big brand that, of course, there are going to be fans and people who collect Transformers products who may not have had TCG experience. And there may be adult fans of Transformers who want to bring their youngsters into the world of Transformers gaming. So when we looked at where we put complexity into the game overall, we made a conscious choice. Let's pull some of that complexity out of the core game rules, and particularly in the turn structure, we pulled a lot of complexity out of there. And then we shifted that complexity over to the card interactions. So we have this sort of core rule system that you're talking about that's really espoused in the Autobot starter set that is super, super grokkable. And then a player of any given level of comfortability with tabletop gaming can sort of layer in complex cards until they get to the point where they're happy.
Yeah. And you guys hit that on the nail, definitely. Oh, man, I've already spent so much money on this game, and now I gotta spend so much more.
Well, hold on. You make it sound like you're sad that they're releasing another one, when the truth is you're excited for the next wave.
Okay, let me, yes, I am super excited, but what I'm sad about is I'm going to go hunting for like one particular type of combiner, it's going to elude me. Just like there's a couple of cards from the first set that have eluded me.
See, and I don't mind it when you do that, because then you get this massive extra set, and then I have an amazing set to play with too.
A symbiotic relationship.
You want all my extras because I have quite a few.
Exactly. See, what is that called? A leech? Is that a parasite?
Sure, I'll give you all 10 of my extra Insecticons. They're yours.
I think we know which one of you is the Autobot and which is the Decepticon.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Which combiner was the one that you were most excited in finding?
Volcanicus and Bruticus and Devastator are like the three that I want to get. Which I know is kind of weird because there's no auto. Well, I guess Volcanicus is still an Autobot. But as far as combiners.
What is this disparaging comment about the Dinobots? I hear this often. Dinobots aren't really Autobots. They're absolutely.
I love the Dinobots, but I just.
As long as you don't look at them in the movies, they're great.
No, or in the season 3 or 4, where Grimlock becomes comedy. No, the thing. I just feel like the Dinobots, yes, they're Autobots, but they're up for themselves. Grimlock wants to be king no matter what, and I know that's not how it is, but that's just kind of the feeling I've always gotten from the comic books and the cartoon. It's just like he's the top dog, and he listens to Optimus Prime when it suits him.
Would you want to see not as part of Rise of the Combiners, but would you want to see in the future a Grimlock Dinobot King card?
Oh yes, totally. I would totally love King Grimlock. I've seen some artwork where he's got the crown and everything, and the sword. Oh man, amazing.
I know that artwork you're talking about, and it is a beautiful, beautiful piece.
Yeah. So to see that would be fantastic as well. I
have some bad news for you. Bruticus is definitively not in Wave 2.
All right. Well, at least I know this now, and I'm not going to spend money trying to find him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that saves some pressure.
So we had to save. Somebody had to go into the bunker, right? To get saved for the next time we do combiners. And Bruticus is who we chose from the early releases of combiners, like way back in Gen 1.
Okay.
To be that. So the Combaticons, they would show up in the future sometime.
All right. I can deal with that. Now I got to find another one. That's okay. No, that's okay. At least I know now, so I'm not going to be hunting and being disappointed because I'm not finding Bruticus. But with my luck, I'll just end up with 4 Computrons. So that's okay.
I'm not complaining about it.
That's yeah.
Because if you end up with 4, I mean,
You're gonna end up with
one of them can just disappear.
to you. Yeah, yeah. So we know where Scott's leaning. All of my extra cards are going to him.
Okay, Scott. Sounds like you've got the good end of this deal.
Yeah. See, I'm still gonna get a decent deck because he needs those 1 or 2 last few cards like
Yes. Yes.
I know what I'm doing when I'm not playing combiners. I like tanks a lot, but I also have been enjoying playing Insecticons. And yes, I like Insecticons. It's true.
That's okay. Insecticons are their own flavor.
They are. And there's a new Bombshell in this set, and Bombshell has this super weird and ability that I've absolutely fallen in love with, which is when he attacks, you can scrap cards in your hand equal to the number of stars on the defending character, and if you do, you just KO the defender.
Whoa!
So I really love this ability, and I have been trying to figure out how to pair him with Sunstorm from the first set, who cares a lot about the number of cards in your hand. So Sunstorm goes, and as you build up cards in your hand, he gets stronger and stronger, and you go and wreck things. And then when you have enough cards and you need Bombshell to just KO somebody right now, you just you use them on his ability. That's what I'm on.
Well, I don't like this idea at all because Daniel's getting hungry eyes right now, and I know that'll just...
Bombshell's like the only Insecticon I actually like. Because, he could control other Transformers. And if you have an ability where you can KO based on the number of cards, oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Really is at his psychological ops here. And, I mean, KO typically it means you're out of the fight, right?
Yeah.
And kind of interpreted him here as we didn't want him to physically take control of another character.
Okay.
We didn't want to change the ownership inside a game. So we looked at this as, he does his mind wrecking on you, and you're down for the count for this fight.
Okay. No, I like that. That actually makes sense. So, since you are an Insecticon fan and you do like Bombshell, I have to ask the age-old question that's just debated everywhere. Do you believe that Bombshell was reconfigured into Cyclonus in the movie? Or was it Scourge?
I think it's Scourge.
Okay.
I know that. So I don't know where that question comes from, because I watched the movie and I thought that it was clearly Scourge, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, personally, I agree with you. I feel like it's always been Scourge because, the Insecticons had that ability to duplicate, and we see so many different Scourges, but we only see really one Cyclonus. So I always felt like Bombshell became one of the Scourges.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I just have to ask the question. I know that's floating out in the internet, and since you are a Transformers fan, I thought I'd throw that out there.
I mean, that also plays into the fact that each of the Insecticon body forms, there appear to be, in various aspects of the continuity, multiples of them. Because the Insecticons are the swarm, right? Like, they infest the lower levels of Cybertron, but not all of them are named characters, right? There's tons and tons of mindless ones.
Yeah.
So that would make sense to me that an Insecticon would become one of the not Cyclonus, the name,
Scourge, yeah,
right.
But one of the Scourge, yeah.
Yeah. Because there was always multiple Scourges running around. They were all called Scourge.
Yeah.
So that's just the thought of the day, I guess.
And are your sweeps?
Yes. I mean, that begs another question, which maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't. Would we ever see a Unicron?
Would we ever see a Unicron is a fantastic question that we talk about in the office all the time.
Okay.
I was going to say, ever is a big word.
It is. And he's a big Transformer.
Yeah.
Ever is a big word. So, I will say this. We would want to make sure Unicron was done right. And there's a sense of physical scale that we'd want to achieve. And I know a lot of people have joked about things like, well, what if he was like a table-sized playmat?
Wow. Yeah.
That's fans on the internet, and you know, I'm really upfront. I'm not like hiding anything here. There's no Unicron product in the mix right now, but it is something we talk about pretty actively because it would be really neat. It would be really cool. How we would manage his star cost is also something that we talk about, and so we've been bandying about a ton of different ideas. Maybe he's a special format entirely unto himself, where you get, one player gets to play him, and the player gets to play 100 points worth of characters.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. The answer is I would love to see that happen. It is a challenging character to make into a TCG product and honor that character correctly. So,
yeah, no, I would have to agree because I mean, you have the Metroplex card, and he's like almost the full-size page, and he's a big guy. You would have to have a table playmat.
I love that idea, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, ever since you said that, I know you were joking, but I know...
So he's a planet on one side, you flip the mat over, and he's a giant robot.
Well, yeah, and you could
go
roll
lengthwise.
it.
Yeah.
Like, you could roll it easily enough for storage, like...
And you just put everyone else's cards on it, and they're just floating in space attacking him?
Yeah.
Dude, okay. Well, maybe we gave him an idea. I don't know. That would be cool.
I mean, it's just, that'd be a lot of fun, because even looking at other games where you think, okay, well, this is, they've reached the extension, the limits of their meta. Like, there's nowhere they can go.
Mm-hmm.
The one that pops to mind is Star Wars Armada.
Okay.
And they just barely released the Super Star Destroyer, which is, 2 feet long.
Yeah.
It's the largest, and it's just, it just goes to show you, you can always branch out. Even with the new, and now the name just escaped me, the new Plex release that they just did. I didn't think that they could make cards that big. But there he is.
The Metroplex, yeah.
The Metroplex. He's this, just the enormity of the card. And when the first wave came out, I wouldn't have thought that size of card would have worked. I would have thought it's too bulky, it's too big, it's not worth it. But seeing it played,
yeah,
it's beautiful, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the ability for the Transformers trading card game, because it doesn't shuffle the characters into the deck at any point, to play with the physical nature of what it means to be a card object. That, the hinged nature of the combiners, and we've said the triple changers are in the set, but we haven't shown who they are yet in Rise of the Combiners, but there's a couple of triple changers. The hinged nature of the card, all of these things really excite me as someone who makes games, because they give us flexibility, and that flexibility allows us to honor the character and really make the character in a way that just feels right. Like Metroplex being bigger than the other characters feels right.
Yeah. Now we need Omega Supreme or Triptychon or... Yeah, anyways. But triple changers, I'm excited about that because I want an Astro Train, Blitzwing, Springer. You gotta have Astro Train. I mean, that's just cool.
I support you in this desire.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you are in support of this. There's a couple of them in the set. We haven't shown who they are yet, but they are also hinged cards, so that they can have all 3 of their modes.
Okay.
And you can actively flip back and forth between any of the modes, which is
nice.
Really kind of a level of flexibility that's interesting in the game.
No, I love how, as you bring these new characters out, the mechanics are tweaking a little bit for their special abilities, but it's not taking too much away from the core rules. The core rules are still as simple as they are. You just have a little extra things you can do here and there just for those cards. It's not like, well, okay, Wave 2's out, here's a new rule set.
Right.
Exactly.
Like the only real change to the core rules in Rise of the Combiners is that you can on March 1st when it releases, you'll be able to use your 1 flip per turn or 1 character conversion per turn to convert a character who's already in your KO area.
Nice.
But because the rule system is pretty streamlined, there's not a lot of baggage for us to have to undo. And that's the thing. One of the things, when a game's been out for, I don't know, a couple of years, sometimes you'll have these great ideas and be like, oh, well, we can't do that because of this rule. And that's, since we're at the early phase of the game and we've been thinking pretty far ahead in the future, this sort of streamlined core rule set is really a skeleton that we can hang other mechanics off of without having to change that fundamental skeleton.
Very nice. Well, folks, you've heard it here. The combiners are coming. Triple changers are coming. You don't know who yet, but they will be in this set. We definitely know there are several combiners in here. We know Bruticus isn't in it, so that's okay. We'll survive. He'll show up later. But if you're going to go hunt for him, at least you know you don't need to. Like
okay,
me.
It sounds like there's plenty of others to hunt for.
There are
which we
plenty
don't
of
know yet.
others, definitely. Definitely sounds like Volcanicus is in there, as well as the aerial bots. So go check out Wizards' webpage for the Transformers trading card game. You'll see which ones are available at this time. And for those of you that have not jumped in to the craziness, let me roll back that. The awesomeness that is the Transformer trading card game, you must do this, especially if you're a Transformer fan. The artwork is fantastic, the rules are simple, and it's just so much fun.
It's a good insanity to be a part of.
Yes.
Yeah, it can absolutely be crazy good.
Yes. And my pile of Transformer cards continues to grow, and that's okay because it's so much fun. And Scott's apparently going to just take over all my doubles.
Doesn't bother me one bit.
No. So, Drew, thank you again so much for coming on the show and talking about Transformers. Honestly, if it wasn't for timetables and schedules, I could just sit here all day and talk to you about Transformers.
I was so happy that you invited me back onto the show.
So, yep, you're always welcome. We'd love to have you back when the next wave comes out. And seriously, listeners, go out, pick up this game. Make this last forever because, one, I want to buy more Transformers. Two, you want to buy more Transformers. And three, it's a fun game.
Come on, and how exciting is it to go into the store and see Transformers on the shelves?
Yes.
Like, it's just, and not the new stuff, but the classic.
Oh,
gens.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that's...
And the
There's
more
nothing else like it.
Transformer stuff you buy, the more stuff they're going to release. It's just that cool.
Yeah.
So, with that said, check out Wizards' page. Check them out, their social media pages. It's really easy to find. And as always, tune in. We'll have more news as more waves come out. And we'll catch you next time.
We're
Bye,
out of here.
everybody.